Solo 2. Not going to happen. Maybe it will. And it's not going to, according to Junkcast, and we talked about it a little while ago.
The Empire's flags are all around.
That's F-105, Din singing right now.
She says it's easier to keep her head down.
It's Rebel Girl, for everybody wondering in the chat, listening away.
You're strange when you say this
I'm James of CLA. Beside me is Brock Smink. Brock.
That's how rebellions work.
What's
5
up?
past the hour. Rebel Scum.
Well, you don't
podcast.
hear the song playing. I was talking in
No,
between,
I know.
in between lines, in between verses.
Yeah. No, I know. I've realized that because I'm like, why does he pause so much? I'm like, oh, right. Rebel Girl, news of the 10s. Hi, James.
And also Andrew's here too, Andrew.
You know, Brock, you just reminded me of how classy it sounds to refer to time as the hour.
That's like a radio thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
5 past the hour.
5 past the hour.
News at the 10s and 20s. Like the Toronto news station's 680.
Yeah.
I that's one of the things I always loved when I used to listen to it on a regular basis. It's like, oh, I know exactly when things are going to happen.
Do you think there's going to be some kind of radio, not revolution, but boom because of the quarantine?
Well, I think there already is in the sense of the revolution of podcasts, and I think
So,
especially in the last 3 weeks, it's
some stats on that. TV ratings are at a high and radio's at a low.
Yeah.
I think the problem is
Really?
people aren't
Well,
driving
yeah.
anymore. They're not traveling, so they're staying home. And when you stay home, you turn
Yeah.
on the TV.
But like,
Right.
is that, like the conventional radio, like the radio in your car, or like do they include podcasts,
No, podcasts
or like
are-
Sirius
podcasts
radio on
are-
that? I feel like that's separate.
No, podcasts aren't radio. They're separate. They're separate. I'm sure podcasts have gone up.
Which is, I think, a
exponentially.
huge mistake.
Well, because it's the airwaves,
Oh yeah,
right?
I see. Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But like,
I would suspect podcasts.
there's
are
a meme
booming.
that's like they got a podcast. Everyone has one now.
Yeah. We've had one for almost 4 years, Brock.
Almost.
Damn, we old.
Andrew hasn't been here for the entire
Yeah,
4 years.
it's yeah, thank God.
He was like
You're on the
episode 2 or
third-
3.
Yeah,
I'm still the new guy.
Yeah. Do you remember when we started, Brock? You were like, for 2 years, you're like, we should do a podcast. 2 years, you said that.
Yeah.
And then we never had a topic.
You're welcome. Bro.
We did one called Films with Friends. Do you remember that? Do you still have that?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you have like
Somewhere.
because
Didn't you guys do Hey Topanga as well?
that was no,
Oh, that was me in my room.
I had no, I was not invited on that show. I was told that I was not good enough for Boy Meets World. Didn't and you remember?
And I feel like that was the full my full foray into podcasting. Like I think we were just making it up as we were going. We were doing films with friends.
Oh, that one.
And that was more promotion.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we did out there with Patreon. What we put out there on Patreon for all the Patreon subscribers to watch once again this year. Don't know if anybody did, but if you did, I either apologize or you're welcome. One or the other, depending on how you felt about it. I also put up a YouTube link. Rachel said it didn't work, but I put up the link for George Lucas in Love on Patreon to watch the short film George Lucas in Love. Have you guys seen that?
No.
I
I
will.
don't think I've ever watched it.
I will send you.
I'm
Like
aware
I
of
bought it for $3 on iTunes like a year and a half ago or something like that, because it is. It's only like 7 minutes. Like it's not long, but it's very well done. It's a parody of Shakespeare in Love, obviously, and it's just everything they do in it is great, and the twist at the end is a lot of fun as well. So I'll send you guys that link so you can check it out. It's literally only 7 minutes. Rachel's saying the link doesn't work. It worked on my end, so. I don't know, but anyway, I'll send you guys a link so you guys can watch that, and maybe we'll talk about it next April Fool's Day.
Sounds good.
Yeah, because those two are linking things. Not Valentine's Day.
Oh, my film didn't. Oh, out there. I put the password for out there wrong. There was a.
Oh, that's right, because you put it up on Patreon.
I put it on
right?
Patreon, but I forgot to capitalize a letter in the password.
Uh-oh.
Aaron's bringing me lunch right now. Sorry, I'm just hi, Aaron.
I like your
We live?
Yeah, we're live. Look, I got lunch. Ooh, the bottom's hot.
Oh, nice.
Oh, there's
I
olives.
like your Michael Jackson Thriller jacket you're wearing.
Yeah,
right
you
now.
like that, right? She got me this too. I love this one. I'm gonna put on the hood. Check it out. Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie?
Not even the right song.
Oh, it's Thriller. I'm not gonna sing Thriller. We'll get sued. Nobody knows Annie, are you okay? Except for Alien Ant Farm. We're all okay. The chat's pretty good today. Thank you guys for joining us right here. We hope you're staying inside. We hope you are safe. I wanted to. Erin, they're saying hi. She left. So I wanted to talk about Solo 2 because we brought it up. I don't know what show it was because they're all blending together into one giant show. But I mentioned how John Kasdan, I think it was live when we were live. I went on Twitter and I saw something where John Kasdan said, or maybe it was episode 163 where John Kasdan tweeted, Solo 2 is not going to happen. They're not talking about it. He thinks the film is highly unlikely because of the box office and Disney Plus is too full right now. So and now the internet's running with this, but I wanted to talk about it because I love Solo. I'm a huge fan of Solo. I want to talk to you guys about it because it just seems like the biggest, to me, not so much a sequel to Solo, but a giant missed opportunity if you don't take at least one of the characters we met in that show, in that film, and made a Disney Plus series surrounding them.
Yeah. Well, go ahead, Andrew.
Well, that quote was John Kasdan.
Somebody asked him.
I don't know.
Yeah, they asked him a question. He goes, "I just don't think it's going to happen because of logistics."
Yeah. What world is he living in where Disney Plus is too full of content?
Well, I think their slate's full, like what they're producing right now. They only have so much money. Don't forget, they can't spend all of the money, right?
Right. That makes more sense. Okay, Brock, sorry, go ahead.
I don't even know what I was gonna say. Yeah, I don't really trust a writer or director or anybody saying anything on Twitter. Because I don't know if you've noticed this. People think that if they say thing on Twitter, it becomes fact. Trump thinks everything he says on there is great. And I don't think they'll ever do it. I'm so glad we're doing ASMR eating right now.
Oh, perfect.
Great.
I'm eating lunch.
Anyways, eat lunch before. So yeah, no, I agree with Andrew. It's sort of like I get it. There's a budget, but like yeah, it does seem odd. Like there's no room on Disney Plus. It's like what? But never say never. That's a Justin Bieber. Bieber? Yeah, that's a Bieber song.
I'll say this: there are something like 9 Marvel films or Marvel series ready for Disney Plus, and there is The Mandalorian season 2, Obi-Wan Kenobi, possibly Cassian Andor, and then maybe something else. There's nothing on Star Wars. Do you know what I mean? We haven't heard anything, which might be for the best because I'm getting tired of hearing nonsense, but I haven't heard anything. He comes out and says this. He's writing Indiana Jones 5. You feel like he would be contacted if they were going to do a sequel or a spin-off or something to Solo. They haven't been talking about it, at least to this point. It baffles the mind. Like they're focusing. It sounds like what they're doing is they're going to just forget Solo. They're going to leave Solo alone. Be like, it's a blip on the radar, basically. They're going to move on, and Disney Plus is going to be the Mandalorian central show. The Mandalorian will be the Skywalker saga of Disney Plus. Everything will hover around the Mandalorian. That's what it's sounding like to me. It feels like that. But I have an idea. So last year, the Resistance broadcast did this Make Solo 2 Happen Day, which was May 23rd, 24th, whenever Solo came out, 24th, 25th, whenever it was of May. And everybody hashtag Make Solo 2 Happen. That's what, if you see the hashtags, that's where it all originated from. As far as I know. If I'm wrong, chat, let me know. You guys will definitely know. What I'm saying is, on July 9th, Disney Plus is getting Solo. Right? Everybody should watch
This
Solo.
July 9th?
What?
This July?
July 9th, 2020, I believe, is the day that Disney Plus Solo. And let me just put on. I believe it's July 9th of this year, which hopefully we're not quarantined by then, but we might be. I think we should all sit down and watch Solo and just let it play the entire day. Break Disney Plus with Solo playing. If you want their attention, that's how you're going to do it. Well, July 9th, 2020.
It's not a bad idea.
Well, you keep harassing them with hashtags. They're going to get annoyed.
Disney
What?
Can you make a playlist on Disney Plus where you just hit repeat? Like you don't physically have to be there, but it'll just keep repeating.
Ooh, that'd be handy.
Like, it's not a bad idea. Like, I know you're just sort of like, oh, we should do that. But like, no, that's not a bad idea.
No, I think it's a good look. Here's the thing. I was talking to somebody. I won't say who it was, but they had a hashtag, and the hashtag kind of worked in their favor. But they said they wouldn't recommend it because the hashtag, as great as it is, it becomes annoying and repetitive, and people, they're like, you stop to take it seriously. And the hashtag for Make Solo 2 Happen is great and all, but at some point, maybe it's not enough. But the way to get their attention is if you watch the movie. If the movie is like, think of Gargoyles, right? The day Disney Plus released it and people were watching Gargoyles and it was trending, and then the creator's like, I want to do it. Yeah. That's obviously died off a little bit, but if you do that with Solo and everybody's watching Solo they're going to have to take notice and be like, well, people want to see what's happening with these characters. Obviously, they care about this. Maybe we should look into it.
Yeah. Here's a thought. It probably won't happen. And it's way the wrong era. But could like something in season 7 of Clone Wars create some like desire for more Darth Maul stuff? Because I feel like that is the one thing that no slam about any of these new characters they've created in Solo, but Darth Maul is like the key reason why you would want a second, because you're like, what happens next? Like, right. I think it would be nice to know a little bit more about Han Solo's youth, but and what happens with Kira. Totally, like that's the movie right there. But like Darth Maul being alive and again in live action, like that's huge. So it's like, how do we fix? Like I think I said in the past is like, it doesn't have to be Solo 2, but you can have all those same actors come back in like, Boba Fett. I don't know. Boba Fett goes to the market. I don't know, whatever it's called. Or Kira. Call it Kira, or call it Underground, or I don't know. And it's technically Solo 2. Wink.
I think I'm in the same canoe as you, Brock. I feel like every time somebody says to me Solo 2, I get a rush of excitement, but my mind never goes to Han and Chewbacca. Yeah. Not once. It goes to Lando, Kira, not Beckett, I guess, because he's dead, and so is Val. But like Lando, Kira, Maul, that whole pocket, maybe like the crime world, maybe Jabba. Han and Chewie are always the last thing I think of when I think of Solo 2. So I would totally be down. Okay, fine. You don't want to make Solo 2 happen, Disney. Make Kira happen. Yeah. Make Lando happen. Make the adventures of the guy who takes his weapons when he goes to visit Paul Bettany happen. Make something happen. There's make Endless Nest happen. Yeah. There's worlds in there you can play in. That's what I love about the new Star Wars stuff, is it should be a tree with branches and just follow those branches everywhere and you get goodness. Look at Dr. Aphra, best example. Started off as a Darth Vader character, boom. Now she's her own thing.
Yeah.
But Josh,
and like,
go on.
Rogue One and Solo kind of fill that gap between Attack of the Clones and New Hope. So it's like, just call it Rebellion and just do characters like you put Saw Gerrera in and you put Enfys Nest in it, and then like somehow Solo's in it. Or you know what? I hate to say it. like you just said, I'd rather see, what is Maul and Kira up to? Like what happens with that, with Red Dawn and all that. I think that is very, very interesting what they're set up
Wolverines.
Yeah, exactly.
Crimson Dawn.
Crimson Dawn.
Josh over at the Den of Nerds went before.
Red
So
Dawn, did I say Red Dawn?
yeah, you did. So Wolverines. Josh had a really good idea at the Den of Nerds. He thought that Boba Fett would play into the Solo movie, and Boba Fett would have a scene similar to the Vader scene from Rogue One, where he would kind of come in and steal the show in a way. And if they were connecting everything together, that would have been really cool. Obviously, that didn't happen. That's not the case. But there's still the potential for Boba Fett to appear in this. I don't think they would want to play in that sandbox, though, because Mandalorian looks too similar to Boba Fett, and they'd want to keep those two characters separate. But there's a lot of things you can do with all these characters. If you continue Han and Chewie, now you could bring in Jabba the Hutt, and you can see them doing more jobs for Jabba, and you could create, like Indiana Jones, but on Disney Plus as a series, basically with Han Solo as the smuggler that he is and the scoundrel, and I would be all for that. Maul and Kira are I think everybody wants Maul and Kira to continue in some capacity. Why that hasn't even happened in a book is I can't comprehend that. Like the minute Solo came out, somebody should have been like, "I'm going to write that book," and they should have been like, "Yes, you can. Here you go." But instead, I honestly, it feels like they just want to forget Solo ever happened. That's like the vibe that I seem to get, and I hope that's not the case. But I don't know. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, hopefully the case is they were just like, hey, that's Crimson Dawn stuff. What should we do? And Filoni was like, I got this. Hold my beer.
Yeah.
What do you guys think is more likely? Solo 2 happens or the Snyder Cut happens?
The
Snyder
I want to
Cut.
say Solo. Oh, man, your delay is insane. Solo, I think, is possible because Disney Plus is still a thing, but like, and Justice League just seems to be on a huge hold right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. But like, if you're going on internet interest, yeah, I guess Snyder Cut.
Oh yeah. You can't look up news anywhere without seeing Snyder cut this, Snyder cut that. It's like, okay, just either release the damn thing or stop talking about it. At least Solo 2 is only being talked about by like geeks like us, Like it's not like Lucasfilm was like, guys, what would be a great idea for Solo 2? And we're like, why don't you friggin' make it and show us? That's how I feel the Snyder cut is right now.
I've said this to my roommate recently. I think, and now this is a Star Wars podcast, I think we need to move away from Batman and Superman. And I know there's a new Batman coming out, but like Wonder Woman, great movie. Aquaman, great movie. Shazam, great movie. And like Wonder Woman 84 looks amazing.
Oh,
So
I can't
like,
wait for that.
just like focus on those things. So it's like, let it go. I know you can complain on the internet and all of a sudden Sonic looks like Sonic from the video games, but I don't like that. Sonic, great movie, but I do not like that internet sometimes wins.
No, they can't always win. I think Sonic was one of those cases where you had to listen to the fans because he looked not like Sonic. And you go to see movies for the character, not some weird version of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's I don't disagree with you. I suppose I think the story would have been the story because I don't think they changed much about that. But like the animation studio that put that together apparently went out of business because they made no money because they had to do it twice.
Yeah,
so it's
that should be on the producers, director, and everybody in charge, the creative team, because you don't make like the problem with Sonic was they used the Michael Bay Ninja Turtles as their parameter, where they said they don't have to look like it doesn't have to look like Sonic, it just has to have the characteristics of Sonic. But the problem, and the Ninja Turtles, the second one, people didn't go see because of the way they looked, mostly, I would say. And I think like Sonic's characteristics, he's a video game character, like he has a cartoon, sure, but he's a video game character. Like he needs to look like he looked. And I was watching the thing with Jim Carrey, and I think he wanted him to look more like Sonic too. He wasn't happy with the original design. I don't know. I'm with you though. I do not like when fans interfere with art, especially. I mean, back to Ninja Turtles. They ruined the Shredder in the Michael Bay Ninja Turtles because people were outraged, right? and then they shoehorned in the Japanese Shredder, and you're like, oh, there's no place for him in this movie. Do you know, like, so, yeah, they shouldn't, I'm with you, they shouldn't listen to fans, but it ended up working out to Sonic's benefit.
Yeah, but then we are always like, oh, Colin Trevorrow, like, this is what his movie would be, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, but it wasn't, so move on. I mean, it's cool that, remind me, is some of his stuff in the art book? Those pictures?
Not that I know of. No, well, the art book stretches back, like, it goes back to like pre conceptual production. So I'm sure there's stuff there from when Trevorrow was around.
Yeah.
Just like as simple as like, what's Finn's costume going to look like in this one? But it's I found this art book was actually very bare bones in terms of what it gives you. I messaged James last night about it. There's not a single mention of Palpatine once in the book, not even by name. Never.
That's amazing. I don't know if that picture of Kylo Ren with Chewbacca, is that in there?
Is that where Chewbacca's tied up? And yeah, that's in there.
But I don't know if that's specific to Trevorrow's stuff per se, because they could have had that scene in what they had inevitably ended up with. But I remember like when they started talking about Trevorrow's cut, he revealed his Duel of the Fates, and then like people were using that leaked images from the book as like, oh, this is that. So I just automatically put that together. But I guess like maybe not. Man, those art books, I need to go buy them myself. They're fantastic.
Yeah, there was some nice art, but I figured, since it came out in March, it wouldn't have that whole "we're not going to put the spoilery stuff in here" kind of thing that the other ones did. But no Palpatine, anything. There's one picture of a dude, I forget what they're called, the Sith dudes on Exegol who are just in the crowd. There's like one picture that alludes that it might be one of those guys. It's just like literally just the costume. Like, this is a hood for a bad guy. I think that's about it.
Yeah. Interesting. So do they have concept art for Exegol or just that character you're mentioning?
For the Red Troopers and the Red Dish Star Destroyers.
That's so wild though. Then like what was the explanation for what the Sith Troopers were? Or Red?
I think it was just like these guys have been, I don't even think they explained like story-wise. They were just like, oh, these are our new troopers, and JJ wanted red troopers, so we put them in red and we designed their costumes red. That's it.
That part, you know what? I'm starting to feel like that's falling apart. That whole how they have their own Sith fleet and all that jazz. I know there's an explanation for it, but like, why? Yeah. Which, yeah, but like it's like
everything I said was accurate.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, the children part, I'm like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. If they have all this group of people that are hidden away in the unknown regions, okay, sure. But it's just sort of like, I was like, thinking about it now, it's like, why can't it just be the First Order? Why can't it be Richard E. Price's General Pride? Richard. What was it? Price. Governor Price from whatever Rebels. Why can't it just be like, oh, by the way, I'm in charge now, and my troopers are red? And I'm like, okay, that makes just as much sense. You know what I mean?
Wasn't that kind of what it is in the movie anyway?
Yeah, but like, just it.
Like, it just happened so fast. Man. He's like, "You'll have an army."
Like Order 66. If it's Price betraying, like, I don't know, Kylo, I guess the whole thing is Kylo can't be the villain at the end, which is like maybe a misstep. I don't know.
But he was always going to be. I think Kylo was always going to be redeemed and die. I think everyone's. No, actually, Trevorrow's. I think he just died. Have you guys seen Mr. Sunday Movies got somebody animate the Trevorrow script, like a 10-minute version of the Trevorrow script? I
saw like a thumbnail of it, but I didn't.
Yeah, I clicked on it today because I was like, maybe we'll talk about it. And then I watched it. I'm like, it's fine. You know what? I didn't read the whole Trevorrow script. I saw like the points and all that, and I did not care. It's not the movie we got. It doesn't exist. Move on. There's a different. The original Star Wars script has green on, like alien Han Solo, and it's called Mace's Guide to the Galaxy or whatever. These things they evolve and move on, and that script that Trevorrow wrote wouldn't have been the shooting script anyway. And I think people have to realize that things change and they move on. And Andrew, you're reading the Art of book. There's art in that book that never made it either. They make things, and and sometimes you have an idea, you put it on, and then you're like going to shoot it, and you realize at some point it's not going to work, and you have to move on from it, and it could be a great idea, but you know what? You save that for later. Kylo Ren, one of his initial designs they used in Rebels for the fifth brother, you save those things in your back pocket, and you bring them up later in the playground and play with them.
Yeah. There was a cool little thing about the red cracks in Kylo's helmet where they were playing around with what color those cracks should be. And I think the first attempt is they were just gray. Like the idea was that they were chrome, the same chrome as his eye thing underneath. And then they were like, no, it doesn't really pop though. So they tried making it like bright yellow, like almost gold. And that I thought looked cool. That was a cool picture. But then they obviously the final one they ended up with was the red because JJ really wanted the red.
I think the red was a good
there was
choice.
Also some kind of idea. Yeah, it was. And it looks cool and it pops. And there was an idea earlier that they didn't go with because it would have been too much work. But somebody had the idea where the pieces were never fused together, but Kylo is constantly holding them together with the Force. So they're always kind of moving. And I was like, that's kind of cool, but I can see why that's like a lot of work and they didn't go with that.
I like the gold idea. Just would that have popped on screen?
Right. That's the thing. Yeah. Because the red has the layer to it where it almost looks like it's fire.
Yeah, exactly.
And that pops.
Exactly. People, I think a lot of people have to settle down. The Art of books are fantastic because you see the development process of how it all began, basically. It's not how, we could have had that. No, not necessarily. So I think that's it. But anyway, let's go back to Solo 2 before we wrap it up. Aside from Maul and Kira, would you guys be down for maybe let's say if they were like, we're going to give it to you, but we'll give you a prequel to Beckett and his crew, and then just throw that in there? Would you watch that? I'm just saying, they were they're recasting Woody Harrelson with Harry Styles. What's his name? Him. They recast Beckett with him, and Justin Timberlake plays the original leader of the group, Beckard.
What is happening?
I don't know. I really like Beckett's character and Jon Favreau's character and who's what's her name from Westworld?
Tandy Newton.
Tandy Newton, thank you. They're good, but I think we need to. It's hard to say that too because we're jumping around in times on certain shows. It's like we don't need to know what the young it's like Muppet Babies. We're like, do we really need to know the young version of everything? I don't hate it though. I think they kind of did a comic on it that was interesting prior to Solo, but no, I don't know. I don't. If we could bring Woody Harrelson back in a Solo 2, that'd be great, but I don't think we can.
Yeah. The thing about backstories in Star Wars, at least their track record anyway, has been like what you're saying, Brock. It's cool for a minute, but literally like a minute. And I mean, we've gotten that with that Beckett comic. Here's Beckett's backstory. Here's another comic. Here's DJ's backstory.
Yeah.
That happens so much, and it's never, ever memorable. They did the same thing with the Cassian and K2SO comic. It's like I couldn't tell you the plot of either of those comics, and I own all three. Like they are like what happened in them? Nothing important. It's just more of them. And I feel like just taking that germ of an idea and making it a movie,
Yeah.
You're tap dancing with fire.
It's
So I would.
sounds like an old Star Wars idea. And now
Yeah.
it's like we have the Mandalorian, which, I mean, argue me all you want. I think what we got with Mandalorian in the end was like, wow, I had no expectation. And maybe that's what we did going, but like how I thought this show would have gone from watching the first trailers to what actually happened is like, just like, do that. Just surprise us.
Yes,
Like,
I think the best route to take with sequels and spin-offs now that are outside of the Skywalker saga is to use the sort of roadmap that James you love about there you go, and then through the Solo movie they meet Enfys Nest, and then you can make a spin-off about Enfys Nest, and through that movie you meet Joe Blow, and then you can make a spin-off about Joe Blow, etc., etc. Like you don't meet a character until the people you've been stuck with initially meet that character. And then that gives you the room to breathe, and it makes you interested, and you're not always looking at backstories that are usually just like 20 pages of who cares.
That is how George Lucas told stories.
Hell yeah.
The good old way, where you actually had to take time and pay attention. Not just, let's just cut to... It's like, ah. Anyway, it's fun. We're hoping. What's the chat saying right now? Let's move over to the chat. Tap dancing with fire. What the heck, man? What? Chat was. All right, we're gonna have to wrap this up right now. It's been a lot of fun. I want to thank everybody for joining us in the chat. It's a live chat, which is always fun. Andrew, before we go, anything you want to say?
Make Solo to the Snyder cut starring Joss Whedon as himself happen.
Brock?
Stay inside.
Seriously, stay the heck inside. Too many people are going out. Finally, I think it's starting to get serious in terms of where people's heads are at in this, not in terms of the pandemic. But anyway, yeah, stay inside, stay safe, and on July 9th, 2020, let's all set our Disney devices, Disney Pluses, to watch Solo: A Star Wars Story. If you actually want that to happen, that is, I think, the way to get Disney to notice, to get Lucasfilm to notice what is wanted from the fan base. All right, I'm James Wazelia. That's Brock. That's Andrew. You're in the chat. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you later. And until then, may the force of others be with you.
Oh, wait.
Just let